Why rich Americans drive used trucks. And you should too. Did you know that 88% of American millionaires drive old cars? I'm not talking about the cash-rich people who brag about it. I'm talking about people who have real assets, who have financial freedom. Last week, I was parking at a coffee shop when a 2010 Chevy Silverado pulled up next to me. The paint was faded, dusty, but it drove smoothly. The man got out in casual work clothes, and I recognized him as David, a real estate investor I know who owns over 200 rental units. When I asked about the car, he just chuckled and said, "You know, this car saved me $40,000 a year." We've been tricked into believing that expensive cars are synonymous with success. Society constantly pressures us to upgrade to show our status. But there's one truth that the rich do know, and today I'm going to share with you why they choose used cars, especially used trucks, and why you should too. In this video, we'll explore the financial psychology behind this decision, the math, and some amazing stories from the rich. If you're ready to change the way you think about cars, comment truck below. Let's start with this question. Why is the psychology of the rich so different? You know, there's something profound that happens when you truly understand wealth. The loudest person in the room usually isn't the richest. I've spent years around truly wealthy people, and I can tell you, they have this quiet confidence that doesn't need validation through their car choice. Let me paint you a picture. I once attended a business conference where parking was a mix of brand new Mercedes, Teslas, and BMWs. But guess who drove the dented 2012 Honda Civic? The keynote speaker who sold his tech startup for $150 million. Why? Because he understood something that the others didn't. Your car is a tool, not a trophy. This phenomenon is called stealth wealth, and it's fascinating. People with high income but low net worth are often the ones buying flashy cars. They're still trying to prove something. But when you've actually built wealth, when you've achieved financial security, you don't need a BMW to feel successful. You're already successful. Think about Warren Buffett driving his old Cadillac for decades, or Mark Zuckerberg famously getting around in a Honda Fit. These aren't cheap people. They're people who value substance over appearance. They've discovered that the energy you spend maintaining an image could be better invested in actually building your wealth. What really struck me was a conversation with my dentist, Dr. Sarah. She's in her late 50s, owns 3 practices, and drives a 15-year-old Toyota Prius. You know what's funny? She told me. Young doctors come to me asking for advice on which luxury car lease to get. I tell them to buy used and invest the difference. Most ignore it. 5 years later, they're stressed about payments while I'm planning my 3rd vacation home. This isn't about being frugal to the point of misery. It's about understanding what truly matters. And that understanding naturally leads to some pretty eye-opening math. Let's talk numbers for a minute, but I promise to keep it simple. Imagine you just bought a $50,000 truck. Congratulations! Now drive it off the lot. In that moment, you just lost about $10,000. Yes, really. By simply owning it for one day, your truck is now worth about $40,000. That's a $10,000 mistake that takes most people years to recover from. Here's where it gets even more brutal. In the first year alone, that truck will lose about 60% of its value. So by year's end, your $50,000 investment is worth around $20,000. You're not just losing money, you're hemorrhaging it. Now, let me share something that changed my entire approach to car buying. 3 years ago, I was considering a new F-150. The dealer had this beautiful silver one for $52,000. Instead, I found a nearly identical 2018 model with 35,000 miles for $22,000. Same truck, same capabilities, just 3 years older. I saved $30,000 in one decision. But here's the kicker. That $30,000 I didn't spend on a new truck, I invested it in an index fund averaging 7% annual returns. Fast forward to today, and that money has grown to nearly $37,000. So my used truck decision didn't just save me $30,000. It's actually made me $7,000 more than that. My neighbor Tom didn't believe me. He bought the new Silverado all shiny and fresh. His monthly payment? $815. Mine? $0. because I paid cash for the used one. Over 5 years, Tom will pay almost $50,000 for his truck. That's $50,000 that could have been building his retirement fund. The most shocking realization? In 5 years, Tom's truck will be worth about what mine is worth today. He'll have lost $30,000 in depreciation, while I'm driving essentially the same vehicle for less than half the cost. This isn't just smart money management. It's wealth building in disguise. And speaking of trucks specifically, there's an interesting reason why so many wealthy people choose them over other vehicles. Now you might be thinking, okay, I get the used car thing, but why trucks? Great question. And here's where it gets really interesting. Wealthy people don't just choose trucks by accident. There's some serious practical wisdom behind it. First off, trucks are workhorses. I know this wealthy contractor, Mike, who's built a small empire flipping houses. He drives a 2011 Ford F-150 that's seen better days. This truck has hauled everything from lumber to landscaping materials, he told me. It's not pretty, but it's helped me make millions. When your vehicle actually helps you build wealth instead of draining it, that's when you know you've made the right choice. Here's something most people don't realize. Trucks hold their value better than cars. That Honda Accord you bought 5 years ago, it's lost about 70% of its value. But a comparable truck? Maybe 50 to 60%. It's simple economics. People actually use trucks for work, so there's always demand in the used market. And let's talk insurance for a second. My 2015 Tacoma cost me $89 a month to insure. My sister's 2023 Lexus sedan, over $300. That's an extra $2,500 a year just to keep her status symbol on the road. Over a decade, that's $25,000 she's spending just on insurance. Money that could have been invested. Maintenance? Here's the beauty of trucks. They're built tough. I've got 145,000 miles on mine, and aside from regular oil changes and a transmission service at 100K, it's been bulletproof. Compare that to some luxury cars, where a single repair can cost more than a month's rent. But here's my favorite part. When you drive a used truck, people expect you to be practical, hardworking. Nobody judges you for downgrading. But when you drive a beat-up Honda after trading in your BMW, suddenly everyone's wondering what happened. Trucks give you this cover to be wealthy without looking like you're trying to show off. The real magic happens when you start calculating what this truck choice means for your overall wealth-building strategy. This is where the rubber meets the road. Literally, every dollar you don't spend on a car payment is a dollar that could be working for you. Let me break this down with real numbers that'll probably surprise you. Remember my neighbor Tom with his $815 monthly truck payment? Let's say he keeps that truck for 7 years. Total payments, $68,460. Now, what if Tom had bought a decent used truck for $20,000 cash instead? He could have invested that $815 every month in a simple S&P 500 index fund at an average 7% annual return, which is pretty conservative historically. Those monthly investments would grow to $91,156 by year 7. Plus, his $20,000 truck would still be worth about $8,000. So Tom's total position, $99,156. Compare that to owning a truck that's now worth maybe $15,000 after 7 years of payments. That's an $84,156 difference. I used to think differently about this. In my 40s, I was driving a leased Lexus, paying $695 a month, thinking I had made it. Then I met this unassuming guy at my daughter's school event, driving a dinged-up 2010 Chevy Silverado, wearing Carhartt pants. Turns out he owned a logistics company worth $40 million. See this truck? He said, patting the hood. Bought it for $18,000 6 years ago. Still runs perfectly. That car payment money goes straight into my brokerage account every month. Compound interest is more impressive than any car I could drive. That conversation changed everything for me. I calculated what my lease payments had cost me over 5 years. $41,700. If I'd invested that money instead, at 7% return, I'd have had nearly $60,000. $60,000. That's a down payment on a rental property, right there. The wealthy understand something crucial. Every major purchase has an opportunity cost. When you tie up money in a depreciating asset like a new car, you're not just losing that money. You're losing all the money that money could have earned for you over time. Real estate mogul Barbara told me she drives a 2012 Ram because my money makes me more money than any truck could impress people. And you know what? When you start seeing cars as tools and investments as wealth builders, something profound shifts in how you think about money altogether. Let me share some stories that'll really drive this point home. Last year, I interviewed a tech entrepreneur named Jake who sold his AI startup for $8.7 million. You'd expect him to be rolling in something German and expensive, right? Nope. He drives a 2005 F-150 with 220,000 miles on it. Know what's funny? Jake laughed, showing me his truck. I could buy any car I want, but this old girl has taken me from ramen noodles to financial freedom. I bought her for $12,000 when I was bootstrapping my company. She hauled equipment, moved office furniture, and even served as a mobile office during those 18-hour days. Now she's like a good luck charm. Then there's Maria, who owns 47 rental properties across Texas. Her daily driver? A 2010 Silverado with hail damage on the hood. I bought this truck right after my first property flip, she told me. Every time I see those dents, I remember sleeping in my truck outside Home Depot to be first in line for contractors. That truck earned every scratch helping me build my empire. But my favorite story is about Jim, who started a landscaping business at 52 after losing his corporate job. He bought a used Tacoma for $15,000 with his severance money. Best investment ever, he says. That truck built my business from zero to $2 million in annual revenue in 5 years. I could lease a fancy truck now, but why? This one works perfectly, and more importantly, it reminds me that tools create wealth, not appearances. What struck me about all these stories is a pattern. Successful people see their trucks as business partners, not status symbols. They form emotional connections based on what the vehicle helped them achieve, not how it looks parked in their driveway. These stories reveal something deeper about wealth-building psychology. It's not just about saving money. It's about developing a mindset where you make decisions based on function over form, results over recognition. And that mindset extends far beyond just car choices. But I know what you're thinking. This sounds great, but what about what people will say? Let's address that elephant in the room. Here's the raw truth nobody talks about. Driving a nice used truck instead of a flashy new car will trigger some people. And I mean really trigger them. When I first made the switch, some friends couldn't understand why a successful person would drive an old truck. My cousin literally pulled me aside at a family gathering and asked if I was having money problems. It's just, you used to drive nice cars, she whispered. I had to explain that I was having the opposite of money problems. I was finally building real wealth instead of the illusion of it. But you know what happened over time? The joke stopped. People started asking for financial advice. My neighbor, who used to smirk at my truck, now asked me for stock tips because he noticed my investment portfolio growing while it stayed flat, thanks to his $900 monthly car payment. Here's what I've learned. Truly confident people don't need anyone's validation about their car choice. When you're secure in your financial decisions, other people's opinions become background noise. It's actually liberating. You stop making purchases to impress people who probably can't afford them either. The real test came when my teenage daughter started driving. She was embarrassed about our beat-up truck at first, but then something clicked when we calculated how much her friends' families were spending on car payments. Wait, so the Johnsons are spending $1,200 a month on cars, and we're investing almost that much? She asked. Now she proudly drives that truck and calls it her wealth-building machine. Teaching this value to the next generation is crucial. I showed my daughter a spreadsheet. 2 columns, one for car payments, one for investments. After 20 years, the investment column had nearly $400,000 more. Dad, she said, I'm never buying a new car. The beautiful thing about breaking free from car status games you start noticing how many other areas of life operate on the same principle. Designer clothes, expensive gadgets, luxury vacations put on credit cards. It's all the same trap. Once you escape the car status game, you begin seeing through all of it. And honestly, the freedom of not caring what people think about your truck is worth more than any monthly payment. So here's your action plan. Before you buy your next vehicle, ask yourself 3 questions. Will this help me build wealth? Can I get the same functionality for less money? And most importantly, am I buying this to impress others or serve my actual needs? If you're in the market now, consider the 20% rule. Never let your total transportation costs exceed 20% of your take-home pay. That includes car payments, insurance, fuel, and maintenance. Most Americans are spending 40 to 50%. That difference could be your retirement fund. Here's my challenge for you. Spend the next 30 days observing vehicle choices around you. Notice who drives what. You'll start seeing patterns. The flashiest cars often belong to people living beyond their means, while the quiet wealth is driving practical, reliable vehicles. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Are you ready to prioritize wealth building over car status? Share your biggest realization from this video. This isn't just about trucks or cars. It's about rewiring how you think about every major purchase. When you master this mindset with vehicles, it ripples through your entire financial life. And remember, whether you're 45 or 75, it's never too late to make smarter money decisions. If this video sparked some thoughts, hit that like button and subscribe for more unconventional wealth building advice. Next week, we're diving into why millionaires shop at Costco, but you probably shouldn't. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we challenge another expensive assumption about success.